Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Ryan Bak after a second place finish at the Lake Sonoma 50 miler. How you doing?
Doing great.
That was your first 50 miler.
It was, yeah.
Did it go how you expected?
So yeah. I mean, I feel like it went as well as it could have, picking something like Lake Sonoma as the first one.
Yeah.
You know, challenging course. You know, the gain is, not something I'm used to quite that much in a race, but it's a more runnable trail, which is more up my alley of my background.
Both the actual tread itself, and there are some short little diggers, but it's a lot of runnable hill.
Yeah.
Unlike, say, when you go to Matterhorn or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very different.
Yeah, so it was a running race.
Yep.
Jim Walmsley went off the front early on, and you were there with Varner and Mike Aish.
Yeah.
So it's a runner's race right there, and you're running together. You guys, are you working together at that point, or like just sort of settling in together?
We kind of were. We just kind of settled in, and I had picked Alex as a guy to key off of because I knew coming in he was fit, and thought that, heard some rumors that he was the guy to beat.
Were we talking to Dylan?
And so, I figured, he knows what he's doing. He's done a few of these things before. I mean, he's still newer to Ultra World, but he's done more longer races than I have.
And he also comes from a similar background.
And he's run Lake Sonoma last year with a good result. So I figured, why not kind of key off him, see what he's doing, try to learn something while I'm out here. And Mike just kind of tagged along with us, and we had a nice group of three for, I don't know, we linked up right when we got off the road. And that was when Jim took off and did his own thing. And I mean, he was never that far up, but it was just, he was out of sight.
And he was being pretty aggressive on the descents, right?
Yeah, he was. He was really getting after the descents. And we were being more, even keel on both the ups and downs. And, our group of three, we were together till the turnaround, basically. And then I think Alex spent a little more time at that aid station. And Mike and I took off, and but it was a mile later. Alex caught back up with us, and then that's where things started to break up. Alex and I split from Mike for a little bit, and I hit a rough patch, maybe around 28 miles, which I wasn't really expecting to hit at that point of the race. But I think I'm learning things with nutrition.
Okay.
So that. Hopping in a race, you can only learn from experience. You do stuff in training runs, but I didn't do any 50-mile training runs.
You don't have any 50-mile training
effort,
exactly.
So it changes things. And I figured it's going to be warmer than I'm used to. I wanted to take in more fluid, and my plan was really not do a whole lot the first hour. And at an hour, I was going to start taking a sip off my gel flask every 20 minutes with a little bit of water as needed in between. And I followed that plan, and I just hit a point where my stomach felt terrible. I think I just had too much in there. That's my guess at this point. I need to go back and figure things out.
Totally.
But I hit a point where my legs felt great, still had good spring in them, felt like I could keep going at the pace we were going for a while. But I felt like, do I need to pull off the trail and puke? Do I need to go to the bathroom? I don't know. And you just hit that point where, all the blood's going to my stomach instead of where it should be going. And, I slowed down quite a bit, and I stopped taking anything for about 45 minutes until it turned around. And at that point, I got back onto somewhat of the plan of what I was doing with fluids and gel, but a little bit less. I was, instead of 20 minutes, it was more like 30 plus minutes.
But you sort of figured it out. At this point, Varner's...
Yeah, at that point he was gone. It was a pretty short period where he pulled away quite a bit. Honestly, within a couple miles he had 3-4 minutes, and then over the during this stretch of when I was struggling, he probably opened up close to 10 minutes by the time I was in Warm Springs at 38 miles. And at that point I was starting to feel good again, and I said, okay, well, just try to hold on to second. You never know. I mean, 12 miles is still a long way, but it was...
And it's 12 miles you've never done before.
Yeah, but it was really one of those, like, unless Varner, like, had an epic bonk, I wasn't going to catch him. I mean, he looked great.
And how about the people behind you?
And,
or were you thinking about that?
No, I was thinking about that, and that was kind of the thing. I was thinking, you know, there's got to be some guys close, you know, and I like the last 12 miles. I kept thinking, we're looking behind my, like, every once in a while, like, where's Carr? He's got to be coming somewhere, and I didn't realize he had dropped. And but
that happened last year, and he closes strong historically. So.
Yeah, exactly. He always finishes races strong, so you know, it was those climbs in that last 12 miles, which really aren't big. I mean, they're the small climbs of the race, but you know, at that point you've gone up and down and up and down and up and down so many times that, you know, things are just tired. You know?
There were a lot of guys on the verge of cramping. Were you ever be on a twinge here, twinge there?
I had a couple twinges, but it was, you know, they were the legs are tired, didn't lift up high enough, kick a big rock.
Gotcha.
And then you get that, like, two-step stumble, and it's like in trying to catch yourself. It's like, oh, there's the hamstring. That's a little tight.
But you're not just like climbing a hill, season up.
No, I felt good during those points. So it was just like I had two stumbles like that both times I had to just take a like 2-minute just easy period, just be like, okay, make sure this doesn't cramp up. Yeah. Oh, maybe I should take one more salt tab, you know, just to be safe.
Now, were there any points either that you thought you weren't going to finish or that you thought like the wheels are going to totally come off?
I never felt like the wheels were going to come off, but during that bad stretch from 28 to probably 36 miles, I had a lot of negative thoughts in my mind, and it was like, well, you know, I have my wife out here with our 15-month-old son, and she's pregnant. She's running around to these aid stations crewing, like, you know, I got to finish this thing.
Yeah.
And you know, luckily things turned around. So.
Gotcha. Have you sworn this distance off yet, or?
No. Yeah, I mean, it was. We'll see how I feel in the next couple of days.
Yeah,
but no, I enjoyed myself out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there were definitely points during the race today I was like, I like 50 miles. And there were points where I was like, I don't know about this. What did I get myself into? But I think it's just the nature of this course, because it's difficult because it is so runnable and you can go fairly quick on it. That, you know, that's a long way to be pushing kind of hard with that kind of vert.
Yeah. So you got to take the Western States. Are you thinking about it? Is it a definite no, or is it a definite maybe?
It's not a definite anything. It's a 95% no.
Yeah.
Mostly because, you know, this was a big jump for me.
Totally.
To come up to 50 miles and then to think, turn around and not too long and do 100. You know, who knows what could happen.
Well, you did follow Varner today on the trail.
I know, and he did it last year. Yeah, exactly.
I think the same way. I don't think that...
This was his first 50 mile, and then he hopped in and did it. And I mean, that's why it's still like, I'm thinking about it. And then tonight, Max was like, trying to convince me to do it.
Really? So, Max was trying to convince you to do He just doesn't want to race you at 50 miles, I think.
Yeah.
You did break his 10-mile Horseshoe Butte.
Horseshoe record.
Yeah.
But, you know, I will give Max credit, though. When he ran his fast time on the course, he was in jean shorts, cowboy hat, big buckle. I think... So I was in real running clothes.
Oh, the 10-miler.
Yeah, in the 10-miler.
Wow.
So
I can actually see
I think we're going to throw down there next year.
Oh, yeah?
Because he missed it this year, and I beat him there last year, but he was trying to take it easy because he was racing Lake Sonoma.
So aside from Western States, do you have anything on your schedule, even if you might have to modify it if you change your mind?
Honestly, right now, the schedule's kind of open.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things on paper that I'm thinking about. But right now, actually, after how that 10-miler went last weekend, I went into it with the goal of doing a nice tempo workout.
Mm-hmm.
Last, you know, real workout before this race. I didn't want to put a full race effort out there. Just, you know, no sense of racing 7 days hard before, you know, my first 50 mile. And it went so much better than I thought it was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And the effort felt really good that I think I might find a half marathon sometime in the next month or so and try
on
to
the roads?
On the roads, and try to get a trials qualifier.
Which is how fast?
Sub 105.
Well, you did just run a 53-minute 10-miler on the trails. Yeah.
I mean, it's totally different. It's hard to compare. But
Yeah.
but I mean, that's more my background, shorter, faster stuff.
Well, that's a perfect transition. When did you get in running, and what led you to here?
Well, I started running late in high school, junior year indoor track season, and I started out running the 55-meter dash for like 2 meets, and I was okay, but somehow I got thrown into a anchor leg of a sprint medley relay, which ends with an 800.
Oh yeah.
And I ran apparently a lot faster than the coaches expected, and they're like, "Okay, you're an 800-meter runner." And so things changed, and that was what it was. I had a decent high school career in a year and a half in a small state in Connecticut. And then I went to Trinity College in Hartford, which is a Division III school. Wasn't quite sure I was really going to pursue running in college, and so it wasn't so much of a factor in my school choice. But ran there for 4 years, cross country and track, and slowly moved up in distance. I was mostly a 1,500-meter runner in college. Ran some 5Ks, ran cross country. With some success. I mean, I think I won 3 national titles in D3 and
what did in 1,500 or?
Won at 1,500. I won cross country my senior year, and I won at 5K my senior year as well. So, and then I got out of school and was kind of pursuing the track at 5K mostly, and kind of bounced around different places. I was in Monterey training for 3 years with a group out there. Ended up in Gunnison, Colorado for a little bit, and so it was comforting running with Mike H today, because Mike and I go way back and know each other really well. We've run so much together. So felt like just we were out on an old, on a training run.
Awesome.
And then, I mean, I raced on the track for about 6 years post-collegiately, kind of trying to do it for a living, scraping by. There's not a whole lot of money in that, obviously.
No.
But it was fun, and it was really 4 years ago, moving to Bend, that I got back into running after a couple years of not running.
Yeah.
And Max and I used to train together at Oregon Track Club in Eugene when we both ran for Nike, and started linking up with Max for a few runs, and the next thing you know, he just got me running on the trails, and I love it. I mean, I've always trained on the trails, and I didn't even realize there were trail races. I didn't know anything about ultra running. It was just, I was focused on the track. That's all I knew about.
Yeah.
So this is a whole new world to me, and I love the community around it, and I love the adventure of these races. So I like the idea of competing, and time doesn't mean a whole lot. So that's refreshing to me.
So now you previously ran for Nike during your track day, and it's funny because I didn't know that, but when sort of heard rumors and rumblings about a Nike trail team forming, I'm like, Ryan Bak should be on that too. Because you were sort of messing around with some of the short trail stuff.
And I was doing a little bit, and I got a phone call from Pat and Ben, who handles the track athletes, and he was helping Pat get the Nike team, the trail team set up. And at the time, I was working with Scott McCoubrey, and it just wasn't an opportunity there, and they treated me really well, and so I didn't join the Nike Trail Elite right away, but there was definitely an allure to come back to a company that treated me well in the past. So.
Nice. Well, congratulations on a great race here at Lake Sonoma, and look forward to seeing you on the trails later.
Thank you very much, Brian.